Okay, as we move into written communication, we're going to start at the first steps we need to do. And this is the first part of engaging into a written communication or document. And the first things we need to know are what is the purpose of the document you're about to write. Goes back to what we said in verbal communication, and we'll get into it as well in electronics. Make sure you know what the problem is that you're about to address, so you know what the specific type of document or email or verbal communication will be. You need to make sure that you understand the response time, because timely response is critical for project engineering and management, because these jobs are moving so fast that if you have an issue and you need to have a response due in 2 days, it's usually because if you don't have that response in 2 days, somebody else is going to either cover you up or install work in your way, or something's going to happen that's going to cost you more money to do your work than it would have cost otherwise. So these response dates are important, and you don't want to be put in that category that he's just always late on getting me my information. Make sure when you're clarifying it, and we've talked about this before, when you're talking to the person about what you're about to get involved with, make sure you understand that response date. And if they're saying, I got to have it by tomorrow morning, and you know you can't do it by tomorrow morning, you're better off saying it then than you are the next day going, well, it just couldn't be done. So, and then the next part of it is what is the specific problem or subject that you're going to be addressing? So that's just doing all the homework, doing the clarifiers, making sure you understand the nature of what it is you're about to write. From there, we need to know who the parties are of this communication. In letters, it may be only one or two people, whereas emails, you see it expand out. Now, we'll get into emails in the next module, but it's always important to know that this is probably going to be it's going to be an owner, general contractor, or whoever, so you can tailor your document to match the skill sets that you're writing to. And then what would be the best format to write your response? And this is often overlooked, because if you send an informal email to somebody, but you put something in there that's basically a bomb or a real problem, let's say you drop something big on his plate saying, oh, guess what, we're not going to be able to open that tenant on time because we're missing a transformer. Guess what? That's not something you want to put into an email, because you're just going to make them mad is what you're going to do. It's saying, well, you're just going to blow it off. It's just an informal email. No, I don't think so. It's going to cost me a lot of money. I'm going to have some real client issues with my tenants not being able to move in. And in that case, you'd be better off with a formal letter with a meeting presentation, because you know darn well you're going to have to go into a meeting to explain why it is this event is going to occur. And so we're going to get into delivery methods in module 5 in this class, but just something to keep in your mind. Know that there's a certain etiquette to submit documents in certain ways, and that etiquette includes written letters. Now, in today's society, we find that we're not writing many letters. However, there are still, from an etiquette standpoint, some things that you do really want to write a letter on. And especially if you're dealing with some of the older project managers, senior project managers on the general contractor side that are from that old school. They're 60 years old, they've got the wisdom, and that's why they're in the positions they're in. And they recognize it and appreciate it if you are communicating very similarly to what they're used to. So it's all about knowing your audience and knowing the people you're talking to and tailoring the delivery methods to them. Once you've determined the purpose of the communication, the format and the audience, we move into the next step, which is doing the homework. And we've gone through that previously throughout these modules. That's when you do all your research, get all the facts and get all the documents that were really related to that one thing you're working on, and turn it into a research project if it's a big issue, depending on the magnitude of the problem. A lot of these, though, it may only take a minute or two for you to do it's maybe 3 different pieces of correspondence that's related to that one issue, and you've got a couple of things that people have said in emails. So you pull it all together, whammo, it takes you a minute or two. And then you may have 1 or 2 that may take you a week to get it all figured out. But every aspect of the problem solving must be built on the facts of the issue. And if you haven't done your homework, you don't understand the facts of the issue. So, here we go again. Do the homework. We could preach it till we're all blue in the face, but that is one of the key factors on being successful. And just as we discussed in the verbal communication module, it's the facts that determine the solution as part of your critical problem solving. And so fact-based reality is where project engineering lives. And, once you've done that, you're going to formulate a clear answer, which ties back to our critical thinking to the subject involved, so that you can accurately establish the facts and build solutions necessary to resolve those issues that you are asked to address. So you're using a fact-based relationship to your solution, so your chances of success are much higher of getting the solution that you wish to, you're proposing, approved, versus them wanting to change it 5 different ways and make it much more difficult for you in the long run. So if you can logically and concisely do that fact-based relationship, you're going to be miles ahead in your written communication, and that includes emails, and it also goes into verbal communication. Understand that the style of your composition will have a major impact also. Style of composition is, gets into a bit of a soft skill. I mean, this takes some time and understanding how to best word things so that your solutions are accepted. You need to understand your audience so that they can understand the issues that you're presenting in a simple enough way. Because you may go into a meeting, and while the architect and the engineer are extremely bright and they know every piece and part of the technical side of it, it's the owner that has the checkbook. And if you can't convince the owner and he doesn't understand the issue, doesn't matter how much technical stuff you talk about, he's still not going to want to write that check. So you need to understand your audience and always try and write to your audience. And if you know, as we said earlier, you know who the audience is going to be before you really get started into it, it makes it that much easier for you to tailor that composition to have the most impact for your success. And thirdly, the thing that really comes from this is by doing all of this, it's establishing your professionalism and integrity as to the implementation of your proposed solutions. In other words, if it's concisely written and it's concisely blocked out and the audience can understand it, I guess it's not really a safety factor, it's more of a confidence level is much higher, because they can see a plan and they say, oh gosh, I'm investing in this, I know what I'm doing, I have a general idea how that's going to impact all the other people on the job site. So therefore they're going to be a lot more interested in approving your solutions that you're presenting in that written communication than you would any other way. So that's basically the very basic parts of written communication, and then we'll keep moving into using the passive versus active skills and a lot of those type of things as we we keep moving through this.